protection than they had this past year. Sadly, FCPS's presentation tonight is absent any commitment to not repeat what they did this past year. This past year, my son's individualized education plan wasn't worth the paper it was written on. The plan we had in place as of May 2020 was simply not supported by FCPS last August through November. 3 of his 5 IEP goals were not addressed because FCPS refused to provide the services. The progress made the prior year was undone, and new negative behaviors emerged as a result of the FCPS virtual education program. This past October, I wrote to members of this school board explaining in detail my son's dilemma. I included the facts pertaining to his case and shared the FCPS collected data documenting his distress. I either did not receive a response, or in one case was politely listened to with no real assistance offered. When I finally filed a due process complaint, FCPS fully resourced their legal fight. They sought to have the matter dismissed, they fought requests for discovery, they even forwarded my letters to the school board. While FCPS would not spend Fairfax County taxpayer dollars on supporting my son's IEP, they did spend heavily on fighting to preserve their right to deny my son promised services. And FCPS has increased their legal budgets to continue fighting parents of special education students. The only special education safeguard this past year was the due process hearing officer, the state of Virginia appointed mediator, and the law. Sadly, it takes time to enforce the law. School board statements of, quote, COVID has been in charge, unquote, make clear that FCPS believes COVID waives your IDEA obligations. I don't see in the FCPS application a statement that FCPS will ignore IEPs while COVID remains a risk, but that appears to be the approved FCPS practice. Your fears are not sufficient reason to ignore the law. A purpose-driven organization cannot ignore their principles. One school board member offered that Dr. Boyd joining the team would make things better, and I hope that's true. But I do worry that the systemic failures of the past year cannot be overcome by simply hiring one new assistant superintendent. I worry that FCPS and this school board have opened the door to additional, quote, unusual circumstances, unquote, that make IDEA conditional rather than a legal or ethical obligation. Good night.